Ever since 1997, Digimon has been entertaining people across the globe. From its beginning as a virtual pet toy for children across Japan, to its first anime series that's engrossed many, and its mini video games, with the latest one going through multiple delays, Digimon has really been able to gain a lot of momentum throughout its lifespan. So, how much do you know about Digimon? With a franchise this large, there are bound to be little things that you may not know about, or perhaps there is just something that you've been oblivious to this entire time. Just like many franchises before this, there has been a creation made to see how much you know about the topic. An iceberg. A lettuce. Man, I really need to fire my editor. An iceberg. Hey guys, my name is Rez Unleashed, and here today in this video, we're going to explain the Digimon Iceberg. But before we get into the video real quick, don't forget to support the video and my channel by liking the video, commenting, and subscribing for more content like this. Also, here's Monochromon in his neat little shop. Okay, with that all out of the way, let's dive into it. When Leomon makes an appearance, regardless of what stage of Digivolution he is at in the anime, he always manages to end up dying in one way or another. Odaiba Memorial Day is an event that takes place on August 1st and celebrates the anniversary of the day that the 7 original Digidestined first entered the digital world. In Digimon World 1, Cherrymon has a different design than it normally does. Extreme Jihad is the Japanese name for Magnamon's Magna Blaster. In Digimon Adventure 2, Magnamon defeats Chimeramon with this attack. King Sukamon is the ruler of a group of Sukamon that inhabit Trash Mountain in Digimon World 1. He can de-digivolve your Digimon if they have digivolved into a Sukamon in that title. The Digimon also makes an appearance in Digimon World Next Order, where it appears when the poop gauge for either hero's Digimon hits the maximum. It teleports the tamer into its chamber to digivolve the affected Digimon into a Sukamon or Platinum Sukamon before teleporting them back to the city. It also rules over Sukamons, Numamons, Garymons, and Platinum Sukamons in the title and lives in the sewers.
Why do all of you get the pizza while I get the crust?
There are a lot of Digimon Armor Digivolutions that were never included in Digimon Adventure 2. The Royal Knights are a group of 13 Mega-level Holy Knight Digimon. They serve as the guardian deities of the computer network and serve under the ruler of the digital world King Drazel. The Digirap is an absolute banger alteration of the English Digimon opening that was used as the opening credits to Digimon the movie. Digimon not having genders is a topic that comes up in the community from time to time. It is canonically believed that Digimon do have gender but not sex. A common misconception that they do not have a gender stems from Renamon in Tamers stating in the English dub that they do not have genders, while in the Japanese version, the line is that they do not have a sex. In Cross Wars, Digimon are stated to have genders. While it may seem like a part of them, Digimon's armor and clothing are in fact removable. There are many examples of this throughout the franchise, but my personal favorite is where Gubblemon removes his fur hide in the first season. Vademon is seen riding a UFO in the PlayStation era video games. This is because of difficulties rendering all of the Digimon's tentacles with the hardware of the time. Digimon the movie is actually the combination of 3 separate original video animations. These were Digimon Adventure, Digimon Our War Game, and Digimon Hurricane Touchdown Transcendent Evolution, The Golden Digimentals. Digimon the movie had cut more than 40 minutes of scenes from the OVAs to save time, and introduced several changes in tone, dialogue, and plot. Because of this, Digimon the movie was seen as an original work by the press. There is a theory that Mon is a type of file extension, as Digimon are digital monsters that inhabit the digital world, which is accessed typically via computers. All things that exist on a computer have some sort of file type extension, thus the Digimon having a .mon extension. Digimoji are a collection of logographic symbols used in the digital world that represent both the list of kana and the English alphabet. When Metal Greymon first released, it was presented as the virus version instead of the orange one that we know today. The virus version debuted in 1997, 2 years before the vaccine one first appeared, which is in the anime. In the Digimon lore, it is stated that according to a rumor, Babamon is a Rosemon that was placed under a spell to take her current form. Systemon Seal is a puppet Digimon that appears in Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's memory. She only makes an appearance in the North American version of the game, as the original character, Systemon Noir, carries religious imagery into mind. It became no good for a North American consideration, according to Kazumasa Habu, the producer of the game.
Didn't know at the time parents' relationship was rocky. I begged to go see Digimon movie. Parents agree, but I don't realize it's for them to spend time together as well. Get to the theater and excited about Digimon flick. Can even afford popcorn and drinks. Parents look happy. Angela Anaconda short comes on. Parents also don't speak very good English. My lil boy mind can't comprehend what the fuck is going on. Parents are utterly confused by this Canadian fuck running around in a Digimon suit. I start crying, and they pull me out of the theater. Mom and Dad start blaming each other for going to the wrong film. Dad throws away the popcorn my mom wanted. Lots of arguing, and I'm still crying. Get into an accident in parking lot. Dad moves out a month later.
The 2009 anime film Summer Wars is believed to draw inspiration from Digimon the movie, specifically the virtual world that exists within Summer Wars. This is probably the case as Mamoru Hosoda directed both films. Citramon is a Digimon created for the English dub of Digimon Data Squad, who appears as an antagonist in the episode A Birthday Christy Will Never Forget. The staff in charge of the dub ordered the removal of the original Digimon who appeared, Bomananimon, to avoid references to bombs blowing up in amusement parks. Tyrannomon was the original mascot of the franchise until it was changed to Agumon, most likely due to his role in the anime. Burpmon is basically the Digimon version of Nintendo's Kirby. There is a collaboration between Digimon and Metabots S, where some Digimon appear in the title. This initially started out as an April Fool's joke that was posted on the Metabots Twitter, but was ultimately made a reality. Betsumon's design is based on elements from Tailmon and Tailmon Betsu, a female seiyuu who was part of the V-Jump editorial department that cosplayed as Tailmon. Fujitsumon is a tiny shellfish Digimon that clings to the pot Okmon wears on its head. The Digimon Hunters is a small segment of Digimon Cross Wars believed by some to be filler episodes in order to fill up time slots for the show. This is due to the various continuity errors that appear during this section of the series.
It's Digimon vs. Digimon. Watch the first Digibowl on Fox Kids. Saturday, January 27th, the first season's Digimon take on the second season to see who are the ultimate champions of the digital gridiron.
In the Digimon Chronicle timeline, Yggdrasil reached the limit data that it could possess. Because of this, Yggdrasil decided to create a new server and kill 99% of the existing Digimon on the old server. The Digimon would do this by releasing the X antivirus, and 1% of the Digimon that survived this possessed the X antibody. Digimonkey was an original creation for a Digimon article that was featured in Shonen Jump. This concept would be used to create Edamon. Digimon Universe at Monsters was originally intended to be its own IP, but was ultimately connected to the Digimon franchise as the premise was too similar. It is widely believed that Ken Penders is the artist behind the Digimon the movie cover art, but this is yet to be proven. Donkey Madness is a fictional game that is mentioned by a reporter interviewing Ken in Digimon Adventure 2. This whole interview is completely different in the Japanese version, but the line being, "By the way, Ken-kun, since you're an elementary school student, you probably like animals. Do you have any pets?" Instead of, "So you've mastered chess, 3D chess, and the Donkey Madness video game. Is there anything you can't handle?" This isn't the only difference, as the entire interview is different between the languages. Early in development, Titamon was named Bacchusmon. Meikumon has a baby and a child form that has not appeared in any media yet. Lycamon, Hermon, and Panmon were all Digimon planned to be featured in Digimon Adventure V-Tamer 01, but this was scrapped due to time constraints. Maki Himikawa and Daigo Nishijima from Digimon Adventure Tri were a part of the original Digidestined. Wargreymon actually has a mouth. Examon was originally designed to be the Mega for Dracomon's blue heavenly dragon evolution line, but this was traded with Slayerdramon as the mega form of the almighty dragon ruling over both heaven and earth, when the proposal for a full third yellow line was discarded. A theory that stems from the digital world is that Megidramon and Chaos Gallantmon are the same being, and it is said that whether the wave of terror is projected as a dark knight or a dark dragon depends on the observer. One fan theory suggests that other V-pets that Bandai have created, Tamagotchi, Wave UFO, Magical Witches, Pocket Biscuit, and Human Player, are all parallel universes to Digimon. Ohakaramon is the Digimon that appears when a Digimon dies in the Digimon V-pet. Japan has held many Digimon fan design contests over the years, with the winners' designs being made into official Digimon, though there are some that haven't had the same treatment, so they have ended up being lost to time. In 2004, Moriyama So was trying to create a stronger Digimon that would serve as the enemy of Omegamon Zwart or Omegamon X Antibody, based on Chaos itself, to be Chaosmon, and one of the initial designs was a jogress between Imperial Dramon Dragon Mode and Armagemon. This rough design was called ZXmon. In Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, Nokia calls Omnimon Garuru Greymon. Digimon Adventure 3D Digimon Grand Prix is a 3D animated film by Toei Animation. In the film, 12 contestants compete in the Digimon Grand Prix to obtain the titles of King of Digimon. The movie is done in the style of wacky races, with the assortment of cars and hijinks between the characters. Digimon World Digital Card Battle is the first out of the 2 virtual trading card Digimon games on the PlayStation, which didn't release outside of Japan. In this title, there is an Agumon who has been made to appear like Hitler, who is one of the game's antagonists. Operation DECODE is the name of the fan campaign designed to show support for the Digimon franchise in the Americas and Europe, in particular the localization of Digimon video games for Western markets. The name is derived from Operation Rainfall, a similar effort used to focus on 3 Nintendo RPGs for the Nintendo Wii, and the first game to be sought is Digimon World Redigitized DECODE. In the Digimon Story DS games, one of the major tamer organizations is called Nightcrow. This is actually a mistranslation of the Japanese name Naitokroru, which actually translates to Night Claw. Come On Digimon, The Capturing Monster Bun is a one-shot pilot manga that was made and released in 1997. One of the characters in this manga, Kentaro Kamon, would be the key inspiration behind Taichi Yagami, or more well known as Tai Kamiya. In Digimon World 2, there is a specific Chaos Dramon named Chaos Lord. In the game, Chaos Lord is the head of the Blood Knights, and to encounter the Digimon, the player must first defeat the 3 Chaos Generals and take their Chaos Rings. Mecha Rogues are a type of lifeform in Digimon World 4 and serve as the major antagonists of the game. The original Mecha Rogue X, has 3 different forms, with its first one resembling Craniumon. Snowballmon is a spoof Digimon created for the Christmas shoutout for Fox Kids during the first English broadcast of Digimon Adventure. There have been many weird Digimon stories published in media throughout time. One of them, posted on Twitter by Raviel Monte, talks about the digital world being in danger of collapsing due to the dangers of the Tempest program. Tamers were encouraged to log into the digital world with the Digimon Twin and the Battle Terminal in order to save the realm. Eventually, the Tamers create 2 armies, but nothing much gets done until a brave human, Commander Yu, appears to save the world. He is depicted in the story as a real human being, whereas everything else is still in anime style. Gaiomon was designed by As Maria, and was originally created as Black War Greymon X. He was asked to redesign Black War Greymon to have a more Japanese flair, so he designed it to dual wield 2 swords. It was loved so much it was renamed and made a standalone Digimon, instead of an X antibody counterpart. A theory going around is that all of the Systemon are actually the hats that they wear, and the bodies are puppets that they control. Bearmon, Skullbolchimon, and Chimeramon have unused models in Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memories Code. Masaru Daimon, or Marcus Daimon, the lead character in Digimon Savers or Data Squad, has been theorized to be half Digimon by fans. This is because of the relation that his father shares with Bancho Leomon. Kaminarimon is a spoof Digimon that made an appearance in the January 1999 issue of V-Jump. It was supposed to appear in Digimon World, where it would have been digivolved into with the unused Electro Ring item. The Electro Ring is the only remnant of the Digimon to still exist, with Kaminarimon's name appearing in its description. In the Japanese version of Digimon World 2, if the opening video is watched a second time immediately after the first time, Wargreymon is replaced with Black Wargreymon, in which it fights Metal Garurumon. Housemon is one of the Dark Master Puppetmon's minions, normally disguised as his house. It is the house that the Digidestined enter when encountering Puppetmon in Digimon Adventure. The Japanese version of Digimon World had a leftover debug menu accessible in-game at the start of a new playthrough. It contained miscellaneous items in large quantities, including Digivolution items for Digimon that were dummied out. This menu was made inaccessible in international versions. Kentarosmon Burst Mode was only released in a 2009 Chinese VPET. Gallantmon Chaos Mode was only released as a figure as a part of the 8-inch Warp Digivolving figures. ENIAC is the first computer that laid down the foundations of the digital world. This computer only appears in the series of games starring Ryo Akiyama for the WonderSwan. Digimon Jintrix is an online trading card game that only released in Japan on February 25th, 2011. Service for the game terminated on September 28th, 2012. There are Chinese manhwas of the Digimon anime series. These are heavily abridged versions of the show and usually have events pan out differently. Some of them have been localized into English, but a lot of them still only remain in China. Dogmons was a scrap project for an anime-styled animated series for TV. Production for the show began in 2002 with a very low budget and ended in 2006 with only 1 episode finished and 2 unfinished. The show was originally planned to have at least 17 episodes. The series takes heavy inspiration from Digimon. In fact, a little too much inspiration from Digimon. Some people believe that after the events of Brave Tamer, ENIAC used Ryo to create a clone that would become Geni. This, however, is false because we know Geni's origin as one of the homeostasis agents. A fan suggests that Alice McCoy from Digimon Tamers may be dead. The theory states, there is a scene in which Dolphin looks at a framed picture of his granddaughter and calls out her name. In the framed picture, Alice shows an innocent childlike smile. But Dolphin called out to Alice with great feeling in his voice. As I listened to the recorded dialogue, I got a strange feeling that perhaps long before the story of Digimon Tamers had started, Alice had left this world. Mind you, this is just my own imagination. A lot of people believe that Lush from Digimon World Next Order is a Lucamon pretending to be a human. This is neither confirmed or denied. Some people believe that the Eaters that are present in Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth are an evolution of the D-Reaper that first appear in Digimon Tamers. This is because they have similar purposes and functions. There are some fan theories out there that state that Digivices are cages for Digimon. It seems to stem from Agumon's extreme dislike of being forced into one in Season 5 of the anime. There is a theory that if Digimon Adventure 3 were to release, it would be centered around fighting aliens to explain why Yamato became an astronaut. This, however, wouldn't ever be the case, as the 3rd season of Adventure was conceptualized with the main villain being the power behind Ken, the darkness that was never defeated. The Toei Animation Museum removed the Savers Agumon statue temporarily in February of 2019. They never officially stated why it was removed, but it is believed that it was to add additional weather clear coating to it so the statue doesn't degrade. The digital world's beginnings can actually be traced back to the early 20th century, with the activation of the first Astanov Berry computer, the first computer which laid the basic foundations of the world according to Digimon Tamer's Brave Tamer. Diaboromon has extra arms hidden in its shoulder pads. Mirabormon is a Digimon that Lilithmon uses to control other Digimon. This information can be found on the card D235 Lilithmon. Digimon Tamers 1984 is a short manga written by Chiaki J. Konaka the screenwriter for Digimon Tamers and illustrated by Kenji Watanabe. It was written more for the adult fans of the Tamers saga and revolves around the creation of original Digimon by the monster makers at Palo Alto University in the late 1980s. It focused on the roles and the thoughts of each monster maker in the project and dealt largely with the philosophical and technological issues surrounding the creation of artificial intelligence. The leader of the hackers in Digital Monster version S, Digimon Tamers, drops a wallpaper called Sexy when the protagonist defeats her. Gaiamon is a project created by Galacticmon in Digimon World 3. Galacticmon's ultimate goal is to create Gaiamon, a fusion between the Earth and itself, and to wipe out the human race in the process. This never ends up happening, as Atsushi, or Junior in the localization, stops the Digimon before it can achieve its goal. There is a PC port of Digimon World 1 that only released in South Korea. The game has been reported to be buggy, unstable, and has not correctly reproduced the original game mechanics. The music also sounds slightly different to the original, and you can only start the game with Agumon. The events of the game remain the same. There is a cult among the Digimon fanbase known as Project Digiclips, and they describe themselves as the combination of hope, belief, and theories of members of all Digimon believers. The point is, we believe that Digimon exist, and we are determined to find a way to bring them to us. The way we attempt to do this is simple, yet hopefully effective. We gather all the believers that we can find and focus on our goal, at the exact same moment all around the world. Hold our Digivices to the sky, and the laws of mind over matter tell us that we can achieve our goal, a digital portal opening somewhere nearby.
Rumble.
Digimon Legendary Skies is a Chinese Digimon manhwa, which was planned to be a sequel to Digimon Frontier, but due to copyright issues related to the Frontier's cast appearance, it underwent major rewrites and ultimately got cancelled. The Digimon Digital Organized Gear, or DDOG for short, is an unreleased item developed when Digimon Tamers was broadcast in Japan. It is a way to send Digimoji emails to the Digimon raised in a virtual pet or Digivice. The Omega Theorem is a fan fiction which involves someone having a psychotic episode involving Digimon the movie, then having an epiphany about it. This theorem is really quite long and goes into detail about multiple theories related to Digimon the movie, which mostly revolve around the creation of Omnimon. Digimon Force 3 is an unreleased toy line consisting of 3 Digivices, Hyper, Fusion, and Armor. They were exclusively developed by Bandai America during the Digimon Frontier era, but it was not officially released. According to the few available promotional material, these Digivices worked in conjunction with the DECODE card game, which allowed Tamers to explore new areas of the digital world and increase the power of their teams. In addition, the Digivice allowed battles in the multiplayer mode, and its main objective was to acquire 3 available worlds to take over control of the digital world. The storyline accompanying the toys is that it takes place at least 100 years after Digimon Frontier. A small conflict began in the 3 years of the digital world, which then grew until only chaos and disorder remained. Hope persists, however, in the 3 leaders who have come from the real world and have been given the power of the Digivice to restore peace. They are also given the responsibility of defeating the evil Hydamon before he completely destroys the digital world. God is an immeasurably powerful being of the ultimate goodness and infinite love that resides within the digital world's central kernel, which is protected by the 3 Archangels and the rest of the Angel-type Digimon. The 3 Archangels, Seraphimon, Cherubimon, and Ophanimon, were given the duty to execute God's enlightened lords, guard his wisdom, and impart his love and mercy respectively, while also being the ones to command God's army, which is composed of all angel Digimon. Holy Angemon serves as a speaker for God's light, which seeks to preserve the order of the digital world. Sakuyamon acts as an agent of God's will, while Kongomon was believed to also be an agent as well in ancient times. Izzy creating Yggdrasil is something only mentioned in the English dub of Digimon Savers. Jeff Nimoy, who is known as the voice of Tentomon in Digimon Adventure, was a lead writer for Data Squad and found an opportunity for Mona Marshall, the voice of Izzy, to voice one of the characters on the show, Yggdrasil. Due to both of them working together in the past, this created the perfect moment for Nimoy to headcanonize that the world in Data Squad was really a computer simulation run by Izzy in the adventure world. The digital world is typically divided into different sections, and this is seen by some as purgatory. These tests usually involve people encountering and challenging their flaws and vices so that they can triumph over them to better themselves, and this is something that the main cast of characters usually go through on their journeys within the franchise. This is especially evident within the Dark Master's arc of adventure, where the chosen children are tested more than any other, as they face their flaws as both an individual and a group while climbing a mountain that almost reaches the sky. This example almost reflects how purgatory is displayed in Dante's Divine Comedy. Akiyoshi Hongo created Digimon and introduced them into the real world. Creating the anime was supposedly his way of letting us all know that they are a threat to humanity, and also allowing him to find the Digidestined to prevent this from happening. Marketing the show towards kids is his way of finding the saviors of the world, as kids would watch the show, then through that they would find out that they are in fact tied to the Digimon, and would seek out the digital world once they realized exactly who they were. At least, this is what some choose to believe. The Digimon Iceberg has now been explained, and oh boy did I learn a lot of things. Never think for a second that even if you've been following a franchise for almost 20 years of your life, that you're bound to be an expert, because I was sure proven wrong when doing my research for this video, which by the way comes from wikis, forums, Twitter, and my brain. There is certainly a lot to the franchise, things you don't know because it hasn't been localized, some weird sports ad from the US that I honestly never knew existed myself, international localizations of games and anime, and some straight up weird lore things that have been explored in video games and manga. What did you know or what didn't you know? What did you find interesting or did something disturb you? Let me know in the comment section down below. I really like hearing these things from you guys, and with that all being said and done, my name is Rez Unleashed, the resident who finally finished this video and unleashed it out into the world, and I'll catch you all next time.